Welcome back. You're tuning into your Feel Good Breakfast Show Expresso right here on S3. Lovely to be hanging out with you this morning, and a rather big topic this morning. Yep, the cost of living. Now, South Africans are feeling the financial pinch. Fuel and food prices are skyrocketing. Electricity prices are climbing, even with incessant load shedding. And interest rates hikes have added thousands of rands to home and car loans. Ons kry swaar, mense. In a country with one of the worst savings rates in the world, South Africans are struggling to make it to their next payday. And this morning we are joined by Director at TVC Health and Wealth, Justin Els, as well as some everyday South Africans to find out what the best ways are to manage your money in these rather tough times. Justin, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Any rest van julle, thank you very much. Wonderful to have you guys. It's tough. It really is tough times. You know, like I've mentioned, fuel, the interest rates, food prices. Justin, I need to ask you, I mean, how do we get here?
Yeah, no, it is tough times. I mean, just to give you some interesting stats, since 2008, fuel prices has gone up by about 290%, medical aid 360%, and the big one, electricity, close to 600%. So, I mean...
Something that we don't really have.
Yes, the main result is inflation. Exactly, we're paying for something we don't have. That's the complaint I've been hearing a lot.
Yeah.
But the main reason is inflation, and a contributing factor to that is because we're importing a lot of our goods, is the depreciating rand. So everything, put that together, it does result into a higher cost of living for South Africa.
Absolutely. Now, I know we have numerous segments with you this morning, so we can't wait to just hear some of your financial advice. But for you guys, we have Tanda, we have Summer, we have Zoe and Bass here with us. How do you guys go about, how do you manage just to get through a month? Who's got something to share? How do we save that extra 10 rand?
You and I firstly need to start out by saying that savings is a gift in South Africa.
Yeah.
If you know, I'm married and I'm married young, so I'm 24, and we come from a two-income household. And even for the two of us, I would have to say, and we've got what standard would be good jobs in South Africa. Between the two of us, we're even like, where do we save the last penny? And then we literally have to cut down on things that people would say is luxury, whereas when you've become accustomed to certain things and you start enjoying it and you start loving it, it becomes a lifestyle. Like they say, it's a lifestyle. But it literally is a lifestyle, and you start to cut back to make it to the end of the month. To make it to the middle of the month, sometimes for ordinary South Africans, it's the middle of the month. You can't even think end of the month yet.
No, because I mean, where we are now, debit orders has gone off, and now you have to start managing. My question as well is, I mean, even if you go and you save on a coffee here or there, you save 20 rand, you've got to be diligent with regards to saving. But I mean, most oftentimes, that extra couple of rands that you have left is just going to plug another hole. What do you guys say?
Yeah, it's also a surprise with the load shedding. So you might be saving and then load shedding, and then you can't prepare the dinner with the vegetables or whatever you have, and now you have to spend extra, maybe a 200 a night, on meals for the family because of load shedding. So I think saving is definitely a privilege.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, apart from the saving, I want to, you know, just focus on the mental aspect, because it's tough. I mean, it does take an emotional toll on you, having to constantly watch your money meticulously and worry about it. I mean, how do you feel about it from an emotional point of view, from a mental point of view, Zoe?
I think it's very difficult sometimes because I live alone. I'm like 25, I live by myself. There is nothing worse than when load shedding ends and you just hear that beep, 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 and it's monthly. For more electricity now. But like little things like, I recently found out that if you buy less electricity, you will get more for your money than if you were to buy bulk. And everyone thinks that buying bulk, it's going to help, it's going to improve your lifestyle. But with like electricity, for example, better to buy smaller amounts.
Thanks,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know?
Well,
No, I'm gonna take that one.
I don't know. So going small works for that.
Bass, what about you? I mean, how are you going about managing this from a monetary point of view, but also from an emotional and mental point of view?
Listen, we work hard. In our jobs, we work
It's
hard.
rough, of course.
And so I think the mental aspect is that you're working, but at the end of the month, you're still just like scraping through. And that takes like a little bit of a toll, because you're like, so what is my reward at the end of it?
Yeah, what am I actually working for? Am I building something?
100%. Is there even a reward to speak about? And so I think that for me is the like, okay,
Yeah, there is that.
What am I doing now? But we here, because we here.
I think at the end of the day, we're just going to be grateful and be blessed and trying to have a positive attitude as much as we can. Justin, I mean, from your side, just quickly off the bat, I mean, how do we save money? What can we do? Simple solutions.
Simple solutions, yeah. First thing is obviously setting up a budget. And at least with technology improving, it doesn't have to be this old school, tedious Excel sheet that we're all used to. There's apps that connect directly to your bank account that actually set up your budget automatically that says, this is what you're spending on food, this is what you're spending on housing. So that makes it more convenient because, as you say, money is a stressful subject.
Yeah.
So now if you have to go and spend hours every month going through your bank statement, that just adds to the stress. So I think first step is just knowing what you're spending on and trying to automate the budgeting process to a big extent, and then try to automate savings. Not, as Warren Buffett would say, don't save what is left, spend what is left and automate savings. So getting a nice financial base is good, like an emergency fund. Like, we're not going to always talk about investing in stocks and all that. You want a good financial base and just have an emergency fund so that you don't have to go into debt, because that's the big one that catches everyone, especially, as you said, with interest rates going up. If you're in debt, people have been feeling the pinch with those interest rates.
And especially for households where there's maybe one income you have to support the rest of your family. I mean, from an emotional point of view, that's also very, very difficult. But it's good to look into those type of apps that can kind of manage your budget for you. Next time you want to buy a coffee, it's going to tell you, sorry, boo, not right now, not right now. We're going to be back with Justin in just a little bit, and also our South Africans giving us some valuable advice this morning on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back as we dive back into a very interesting and probably vitally important conversation to have right now. And at the center of our little panel here of not so ordinary people, Director at TVC Health and Wealth, Justin Els, who hopefully isn't going to charge us by the minute, as well as the rest of our amazing panel this morning, who are here to discuss the cost of living in South Africa at the moment. Now, according to a recent study, South Africa is 6th on the list of countries with the highest cost of living on the continent. There are reasons for that. We have access to layers of life, levels of life here that I think a lot of other African countries don't. We kind of alluded that to it. Once you get used to having certain things within your ecosystem, that the notion of cutting back then becomes an emotional question, because what's a session at gym worth to you? It might be worth 30 grand to you if it frees you up, de-stresses you so you can go and approach the next day. So when cutting back, how do you work on that line? Is there an opportunity there, maybe, Thando, to look at what really does build into that success model, and for you to get real about what you need? And I say this from obviously being a slightly more advanced position in life with kids and a wife and a different stage of journey, but it's boiling down to that same question. For you, has this been a challenge or an opportunity for growth, do you think?
A bit of both. So, because I mean, I'm young, so like there's not a
Thanks
lot.
for reminding me.
I'm just saying, I'm young, and so yes, there's lots of responsibility. Like, you don't want to make bad financial decisions, but I also don't need to take on a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't put myself in positions that I don't need to be because of peer pressure and all of that. I think with going out and all of that lifestyle that young people get into, I need to be careful and choose what I want to go out for and what I can actually afford, because there's no point to showing up in everything. That's where I choose to cut back, because I'm like, I don't have other responsibilities.
But then it's like a roulette for your friends to decide who's going to get you this month, who's going to go out on this.
That's what it is.
But maybe you've got to go there. So many of our viewers weighing in on the social media platforms, just exactly that. The small increments, little bits. A coffee here, going out and eating out. Fast food obviously has become a trap with load shedding, as you guys alluded to. There are ways that we can shave off. Summer, has it yielded a positive response when you do that? Have you had an opportunity to see the net result of making those small incremental changes?
I want to actually touch on something that Thando said. I'm still young, don't get me wrong, but when I wasn't married, I was able to do that.
Yeah.
Now that I am married, completely different position.
For sure.
Now we're feeding 2 people 31 days out of a month. That's excluding people coming over, that's excluding. So now I'm not in a predicament where I save as much. However, I think this notion of saving is like, I need to save big. And so I've seen the positive ways in that I've changed it. I'm saving smaller amounts. So I save in small increments. I save what I can now and not necessarily what I want. I would
sure.
love to save what I want.
But no, but it's, I suppose in essence, it's like running a kilometer further the next day. It feeds that positive narrative. Justin, I want to flip the script here a little bit because now, and these young'uns, they exist in a space that is primed for multiple streams of income. And it's not to say that you aren't focused on your main kind of objectives here, but there is an opportunity in the world we live in now where people are working in a hybrid situation, working from home. We talk about a side hustle. I think everyone needs about 4 or 5 hustles. And,
What do you
and
mean?
it feels
We have like 10 over here in the
it's a hustle. I think all of this is a hustle. How would you recommend approaching that side of this coin? Because I think you reach a point where you just need to make more from the tools that you have. And you've got the network, you've got the people around you. How do you approach that notion of wealth creation?
So obviously investing is one of the best ways to get that side income.
Passive income.
That passive income, and there's multiple ways of investing, but also I see investment a bit differently than I think the traditional financial advisor. Another form of investment is investing in your health. The healthier you are, the better you're able to do your job. You may maybe have enough energy to do an additional side hustle, as you say. Investing in your education gives you the possibility of getting that promotion or maybe even getting that side hustle going, whether it's maybe content creation on the side or anything like that. There are so many streams, but you have to research what's available out there. And then once you get that thing going, this is additional income that you didn't budget on. So let's rather, instead of now increasing the lifestyle, because that's what all of us want to do, get that better car, bigger house, all that, you have to unfortunately sometimes do the boring thing and invest that money. But the best way I'd like to frame it is see your future self as a best friend that you want to do something for. And give them a gift of a saving. And that's the way to frame it. Instead of just seeing savings like insurance and like a grudge payment, see it as this is a gift I'm giving my future self.
I absolutely love that. And you can think about that generationally as well. Don't just put a trust fund for your kid, but create something that they can invest in their own content creation system, their own. And I love the fact that you guys are teaching us every day to think about our own personal brand, as a business that you're growing, because that's the direction that we're moving in. Justin, thank you so much for being here this morning and sharing your advice for free, I hope. And thank you so much to the not-so-ordinary South Africans for opening up, because I think everybody is feeling vulnerable right now. And that's what money does. When you've got to have this intersection between emotion and money, it can be a very difficult space to navigate. But this is key. Talk with your partner, especially talk with your family, your ecosystem, your bank. There are more options available than you think.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, Mzansi, welcome back. Your Feel Good Breakfast Show. What a show it's been already. It's still early in the morning, but the conversation has been going deep and hopefully helping you too. Now listen to this. South Africa's cost of living crisis seems to be worsening, and especially as winter looms now, that with the consumer inflation rate still accelerating too. Now, economists say that South Africa's rising inflation rates combined with an already limping economy are clearly straining consumers. I'm feeling it right now, definitely. So we've got financial advisor Justin Els in the building and the rest of the panel, the beautiful panel here, to continue and wrap up this discussion on this topic that is so pertinent right now. Guys, thank you for the conversation we had so far. I've been listening in and already taking some great tips. I'm in this position, though, where I'm trying my very best to grow in life. But man, it's just coming at us. Everywhere I look, every possible corner I try and exceed, something's coming at me, right? Even something as simple as growing a family. I mean, nowadays, it's not something you can just be excited about because it's like, whoa, like it costs a lot of money. How do I afford a wedding? How do I afford a kid? How do I afford these things? Some of you have gone through the wedding part already. You got the hubby.
We're happy that part is over.
Yeah,
We're
are
happy
kids
that it's-
potentially on the way though? Is that something that you base a financial decision on, or is it just purely about something that you want?
Look, I think with the day and age that we live in, it's financial.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Well, you'll be there one day or soon. But I mean, no, I promise you, and hopefully it gets better.
Yeah.
But for now, it's strictly financial. So it's funny, we have this joke because my father-in-law is like calling himself grandpa. And I'm like, no, there are no grandkids. Strictly because we cannot afford them just yet.
Yeah.
You have to think, so I'm already thinking, I need to think birth. I need to think, gynae appointments. I need to think about all these things, and then the kid gets born.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking before, I'm still thinking pregnancy. I'm not even thinking that my child is born yet.
That's the,
It's not even, and then I have to consider the fact that I need to feed somebody else. And I want them to be happy. I want them to be loved. I want to give them everything that I didn't have, and I had everything.
Nice.
So I want to give them every single thing that I can. I want to give them all the possibilities in the world because they deserve it. You've made them, so make sure that they've got a good life.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, for a lot of us, never mind just the baby, we're just focusing on ourselves, feeding ourselves. Feeding ourselves up. Right? As I know you, obviously, the traveler, the socialite, of course. I've seen you all over South Africa doing the things. Have you noticed something that I've picked up on? I've been traveling a lot, right? I find that when I leave Cape Town, I feel a little bit richer. Like, I can afford more things. I don't know, is there something going on in Cape Town specifically?
Is it
where
just
we've
me, or is it my money?
Yeah, is it just me, guys? Like, am I just somehow throwing the money away, or have you noticed this too, man? I'm sure you've experienced something like that.
100%. I also think that there might be maybe a little bit more things to do in Cape Town. And also, I think with social media also being a little bit of a pressure, because people, if you go on TikTok, oh, guys, have you seen this new thing? Have you seen this new thing? Have you seen that? And we like to belong. We like to be part of things.
Fit in, yeah.
And we like things. So I think that added pressure is like, there's a lot to do, so we want to try and do everything.
Yeah.
But again, I think it goes back to just like, calm it down, take it down. Think about what you want to be doing out in the world. I love going out. I love being out here. I love doing things. So big part of my budget for the month is that. And I do it because, like I said earlier, we work hard. So if I don't have a reward at the end of the day,
what's the incentive?
what is the point?
Yeah.
What is the
And I love the key word you used there, budget. That's something that not a lot of us even incorporate into our lifestyles because we just want to have fun. I just want to enjoy life. Zoe, I could probably categorize you in a very similar bracket. I've seen you in crazy spaces. I see you partying at night, then in the morning you're working hard, and then you're at an event, and then you're at like a red carpet. You do the most. How are you sustaining this? How are you doing this?
Remind me to hide my stories after this. How do I sustain it? I think I'm very blessed in that I get invited to a lot of events, so that financially helps me.
Yeah.
There's nothing like when you get that invite and you're like, whew, good. But I think things like alcohol when you go out, that's extremely expensive.
Yes.
Like how they upmarket that, it's crazy. So if I do drink, I'll drink at home, go out, stick to water. That's
Some health
me.
benefits. I like that. There we go.
So there must be balance in this lifestyle. But yeah, I definitely think it's very difficult to manage being social with people and then also your budgets. But you really have to learn to say no. It is so okay to not suffer to FOMO. Like, FOMO's fine. I don't mind missing out every now and again. Thank you so much.
And it's quite cool to sometimes actually remember what you did the night before as well. So you don't need to be caught up in being pressured into doing crazy things that just waste money at the end of the day, right? I mean, pressure might come in crazier forms. I mean, there's the socialites, and then you get socialites in other spaces. I mean, Tando, I see you doing crazy things when it comes to the dining experience. Obviously, you're a lover of food, someone that prepares it so well as well. Do you find that social pressure in those environments when you're going out with friends at like a restaurant, for example? Like, hey guys, this latest restaurant popped off because there's something always popping off. Joburg, KZN in Cape Town, you name it in the country. You got to be there to fit in, right? Do you find that there's a pressure to now like afford the best meal on the menu? Like, or can you just get away with, I'm not hungry, I just want like chips because it's in my budget? Like, it doesn't ever rise for you? Are you finding those situations?
I will spend on food.
The credit card comes out.
I will spend on food. Like, food is really one thing that I don't compromise on. So I'd rather be like a homebody and not go out to like parties and stuff like that. But like, if you're saying we're going to a restaurant, I'm coming and I want the best experience.
So the balance, okay.
The balance, yeah. Like, I think also prioritizing what you're willing to spend on and what you're not willing to spend on. And so for me, that's easy. Like, food, I'm a spend. Going out, you guys can go, it's fine. I'm full. I can chill now.
I like that. And I like the fact that each of you has your own unique archetype, right? And in your own unique way of saying, this is my independence. I need to budget. I need to plan. I need to say no. I need to go to events that, if it's not for free, it's not for me. Whatever it is, we all have our system. And I think that's what's the most important thing from what I'm hearing from you. You're real people. We all can resonate with that, and we all can understand that we have to sacrifice somewhere. We can't have it all. It doesn't matter who you are. Justin, I want to bring it back to you. Maybe you can round this up for us. You're obviously possibly the pro when it comes to dealing with the situation. What can you advise us and the rest of Mzansi when it comes to this world we're navigating right now and the real potential that things could get even worse? that this crunch and this feeling of pressure financially could get even worse. The cost of living could increase. What advice do you have for us? Maybe just to round things up and maybe give us some inspiration. It's not all doom and gloom.
So yeah, let's be honest, FOMO is real.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the psychology of money is important to take into account. What is worth it for you to spend on? If you are a foodie and you're going to spend on food, see where in your budget you can cut back on. And that's an educated, that's an educated decision you made. You know that you're going to spend on food, but then you cut back elsewhere. And also find hobbies, and that's the nice thing about Cape Town, but you can always find, wherever you live, find hobbies that doesn't necessarily cost money. So you don't necessarily, okay, I don't have any money, I'm going to stay at home and be sad about it. That's not a realistic solution. Find something like, whether it's trail running in Cape Town, in Table Mountain, or going to the beach, or there are things to do that are social, that you can say, guys, instead of going out tonight, let's go to this, to Kirstenbosch or whatever. Let's find something else to do. It's still social. I'm not just sitting at home and being sad, but it's not going to cost me as much as it does when we do actually go out.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, outdoors are free at the end of the day, but oh, what an incredible conversation. Thank you all. Tando, Summer, Justin, Zoe, Baz, you guys have been incredible. Also, one of the most beautiful looking panels that I've ever seen. It's like an album cover right here, but thank you.
What can we do?
You were real, you were authentic, and I think that's what Mzansi needed. So thank you again, Justin, for also being here. Your expertise has been absolutely delicious, to say the least. And yeah, for you, Mzansi, thank you for joining us a conversation. It's been something that I've been digesting, that I have been devouring, and I've absolutely loved it. So thank you, and thank you for joining us, Mzansi. Great convo.